was instituted by God, and if that marriage is to thrive and to blossom, there's an aspect that is critical, and that is aspect of prayer. Hi, welcome to Blossoming Marriage Academy, and Blossoming Marriage Academy is an initiative of Royal Life Springs. At Royal Life Springs, we are passionate about empowering families to blossom. I am Jacinta Njihia. I am a marriage and family therapist, a mother of 5, and a grandmother of 1. Today we are so honored yet again to have with us Janet. I'll ask Janet once again, for the benefit of those of you who have not watched us before, to introduce herself. Welcome, Janet.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here. My name is Janet Quinson. I am born again. I am a mother of 2 children and a wife for 16 years.
Welcome, Janet.
Thank you.
Today we want to tackle the topic of praying together as a couple. We know marriage was instituted by God, and if that marriage is to thrive and to blossom, there's an aspect that is critical, and that is aspect of prayer. Janet, there's this popular saying that says that a family that prays together stays together.
Yes. I actually agree with that, because praying together is very critical in making a family stand. You see, when the Bible talks about in Psalm 127 verse 1, where it says that unless the Lord builds a house, the laborers work in vain.
Mm-hmm.
Or if the Lord does not watch over a city,
Mm-hmm.
the guards stay awake in vain.
Mm-hmm.
That speaks a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That yes, you still have to do your part, but at the end of the day, God is the key person. He's the one who will make sure that your efforts succeed.
Mm-hmm.
So we could be working together to build a family, which is very important. We have to play our roles, do all the things that we need to do as a family to make sure your family stands. But if you don't have God, you're lacking a very critical thing, which is like the foundation.
That's right.
Of this family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's important to have prayer as a key component
Mm-hmm.
in making sure that that family stands.
Mm-hmm.
And why is it important? It is because once you give God his rightful place, he is able to make your family run and achieve the purpose for which it was put together.
Mm-hmm.
It is God who has put a family together.
That's right.
He's the one who has ordained that institution.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, if we do not allow God in, who is going to make sure that it thrives? Yet he is the one who ordained it.
Mm-hmm.
So that is one thing. So when you give God a chance, he runs with that family. He ordains the steps of this family. He directs every path of this family.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that is important on the benefit of praying.
Just before you go on,
Yes.
I'm just curious, praying together as a couple, but I'm thinking, I am also praying individually. I am praying. Does that mean that the praying together as a couple will replace my individual prayer time, or exactly,
You see, when you talk about a relationship with God, there is you as a person. There is individual relationship with God, which you must cultivate as a person. And then you come together as a family of people who individually have a relationship with God.
That's
And
right.
we acknowledge that we are all believers in God, and therefore we can have communal prayer or joint time of prayer as a couple or even as a family with your children. But this time we are focusing more on the couple.
Yeah, so I pray alone,
Yes.
but again, there's that importance
Yes.
of praying together as
Yes.
a couple.
It's very important for you to just take time as an individual to sit down, read the Bible, pray to God, talk to God, because that builds your relationship with God as a person. And for you actually to be a good spouse, you need to draw your strength and inspiration from God. So it's very important for you to have your own quiet time or your own time with God. And also as a family you come together, because that also has its role and functions in making sure that your relationship thrives.
That's right.
That you stay together.
Yes.
So the point I was pointing at is this, that as a couple, when you pray together, it increases your bond.
It does.
Yes, it does.
Yes.
Because every time you have an activity together,
Yes.
whether it's cooking or a walk or just any work or a drive, anything that you do together increases the bond you have. And prayer is one of the activities
that can
that you
help
do
you
together.
bond as
Yes.
a couple. And I'm also imagining even the prayers, I mean, even the prayer fellowships that I have had with ladies, there's some tendency to draw close. So I hear you clearly that when you pray together as a couple, it increases that bond.
It increases.
What are the benefits? I am sure there are
Yes,
other
there
benefits.
are many other benefits.
Yes.
One of the things is that you also are able to grow more intimate. Why? Because you are vulnerable with one another.
Yes.
When a spouse tells the other, I am going through this and this and that, you're actually opening your heart to this person as well.
That's right.
So it's not just you're giving them a burden to run with. You're opening your heart and exposing your weaknesses to this person. And so you don't just stand there as the most, the strongest person in this world, and you may never need support. So the moment you come and tell your spouse, I am going through this,
Yes.
and I need help.
Yes.
For example, if it's a case where you have character issue, like I'm struggling with anger, I feel like I am offended by so and so. So you actually are opening your heart to this spouse, and they get to hear you better. And the moment this person responds in a positive way and supports you, the bond is increased. You see, so there's the part where you feel I'm being understood and I'm not being judged, I'm being supported, and intimacy will develop, will be stronger. So it's very important to be vulnerable with one another. And
Yes.
that being in prayer is a place where you can actually be vulnerable with your spouse, and you're opening your heart to your
And
spouse.
what a better person to be vulnerable with than your spouse.
spouse,
And I'm
yes.
also imagining it's a place then before even you pray, you share, and that sharing, like you're saying, vulnerability, I mean, builds friendship. And you're able to, to support one another. But Janet, maybe I hear somebody saying that I have tried to have my spouse pray with me and that I have not been successful. Is all hope lost, or does one really stand disadvantaged because of that?
Well, you must accept that couples are not always at the same level spiritually.
Yes.
You find a person who is very strong in the Lord, and they pray very frequently. They read the Bible.
Yes.
But your spouse will probably join you once a week or once a month, or they're never bothered
Yes.
about that.
Yes.
So does that mean that you can't be together? No. You can invite your spouse. If your spouse is not interested in praying, especially if your spouse is not a believer, in a case where a spouse is not a believer, pray for them. But don't shove prayers down their throat, and don't bug them with this idea of prayer. Just pray for them and invite God in your home. You see, the point is there anyone praying in that family? At least there is somebody who is praying. It is better if you prayed together, because you pray about your project together, you pray about your children together, you pray about many things, your own relationship, you pray about it together. But if your spouse is not interested, it doesn't mean that you can't pray.
You can still go ahead and pray.
Yes, and make sure you invite him or
Yes.
her.
Yes.
The moment you want to pray, just extend the invitation. But if the person is not ready to pray with you, don't force it. Don't insist, and don't have an attitude. Oh, they're demon possessed because they don't know how to pray. Oh, this one is like that. You can use words that pull the person down and make this prayer idea look like it's not even a beautiful idea. Yet prayer is very beautiful. So if your spouse is not willing to pray together with you, go ahead and pray. But don't push it to him or her. Don't force them to just come and pray with you.
Allow them to be.
Allow them to be.
Yes.
But extend the invitation every time. Just extend it. One day, the person might just feel like, they can join you. Again, ask them, how can I pray for you? They may not join you, but they might actually give you prayer items.
That's right.
So they know that somebody is supporting them and praying with them for them.
Yes.
So ask for prayer items and genuinely pray for those things. Because you don't know why this person doesn't want to pray with you. Maybe also you need to check. Maybe it's the way you pray. Maybe accuse them. you accuse them in prayer,
Yes.
and then every time you go to pray, you are always, pointing on their weaknesses all the time. So, and then telling God, help my spouse because they're like this and that. So it becomes
They drink
where
too
they are
much.
judged.
They
Yes.
are not orderly.
Yes.
So you're accusing them.
Yes. So
of course,
who wants to sit there and be accused before God? You can go and accuse them, but they're not there.
but not when they are.
But not when they're there. So, and then when you go to God, you're actually not supposed to be accusing your spouse. Pray for them, because we are human beings and we are weak. So if your spouse has a weakness that you need to pray to God about, make it a habit to pray to God about it without accusing the spouse.
That's right.
And not just dragging them into it and say, come and pray for you because you drink too much or you're such a gossip. Why would you be telling somebody that? If you have an issue with your spouse,
Yes.
talk the issue out away from the moment of prayer. Then come thrash it out.
Yes.
So don't come and accuse them, because I will also not feel very comfortable.
That's right.
Even if both of us are born again,
Yes.
and we usually pray together, I will not look forward to that moment of prayer if I know when I come there I'm being accused of so many things. I'd rather just pray for myself by myself, and God will still hear my prayer anyway.
That's right. That's right. Yes.
Yeah. So it's important that keep praying, even if
Yes.
your spouse is not part of your.
So what I'm hearing also, prayer is not taking up the place of communication. So if there are issues, you need to talk about them.
Talk about it.
And I can imagine if you talk about them, even as you go for prayer, you will kind of be open and even willing for that correction and rebuke from the Holy Spirit.
Yes. Let me point out
Yes.
that once you sort out your problems,
Yes.
not really sort out, once you discuss your problems,
Yes.
as you present them to God,
Yes.
you are reading from the same script.
Yes.
And so you are in agreement.
Yes.
You need to pray to God about this issue you have.
Yes.
So you're not going ahead
Yes.
and presenting those issues,
Yes.
and your spouse is not even aware.
That's right.
Yeah, maybe even what you're feeling as if it's an offense or something that your spouse did that is wrong, you misunderstood.
Yes.
So before you go to God and present those things, talk about it. Then you realize probably you misunderstood what this person said or what the person did. And so at that point, you are able to pray from the same script, and you're in agreement that this is what we are praying about. Yes, so you're not diverting into
other issues.
accusations and judgments.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Janet. I think now somebody watching is just maybe somebody who has not been praying with their spouse would be keen to know what are the tips, what are the things, the nuggets that you can give to help a couple to start praying together or to continue to pray together in a way that that unity is fostered. Yes, what are the tips?
One of the things is that you must be intentional.
You must be intentional.
You must be intentional, because life is busy.
Yes.
Life is very busy.
Yes.
And so if your spiritual life and your marriage are important, you will be able to create time for that. You create time for what you love.
That's right.
That's
and what
given.
is important
What
to
is
you.
important to you
Yes.
will be given priority, or will be assigned time. In your to-do list, there will be praying together, or my Bible study time. You will have that in that space. So plan. When is the most convenient time for us to pray together? Maybe it is in the evening when you're back from work, or early in the morning before you leave. Or if you are in a place where you can meet over lunchtime, maybe that would be a possibility.
That's
so
right.
you can meet and pray.
Yes.
So prioritize. Make it, put it in your to-do list. And
Be intentional. Yes.
Be intentional. Just
And
make sure
plan.
that it happens. The other thing I'd like to say is have a list. What are you praying about?
Be organized.
Be organized.
Yes.
So you can decide on Mondays our focus will be on children. Tuesdays our focus will be on our business. Or you could actually have the list. Every day you pray to God about the list, and you tick as the prayers are being answered. You see,
And you have a list of thanksgiving.
and a
because
list of thanksgiving
of the things that God has done.
answered.
Yes.
Okay, so when you go to pray and you have your list, we can have you pray for number 1, I pray for number 2, pray for number 3, pray for number 4, so that you're both involved. It's not a place where only one person goes to pray and then the other one is busy agreeing and then you finish. But if you don't have time, you might have one person rush through the prayer and you agree. And rushing through the prayer doesn't mean you're doing a shoddy job. you're just making sure you're using the time that you have.
That's right.
And it's better that you pray than just say, we don't even have time, so we'll not pray about this thing. Okay, so the other thing I'll say is that you can organize for prayer drives. You may not really just have to.
So that you vary.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be routine or a ritual.
Yes. Sometimes, you value, somebody could have it in mind that, you have to kneel down and pray. There's nothing wrong with that. Kneel and pray. But there are times when you can just pray as you drive. Drive as you go to work in the jam, pray. We did that actually with my husband when I used to work.
Yes.
There would be jam on the way.
Yes.
And so we would pray, we would talk, by the time we get to where we are going, we have had
bonding, praying, driving together.
Yes, unless there's somebody else in the car and then you can't have those intimate conversations.
Yes.
Have the time. And if it's a person that is a brother in the Lord or a sister in the Lord, and you can have prayer together, you can pray about general things. You don't really necessarily have to pray about your intimate issue. You can pray about many things, even for them, the person who's joining the car. So prayer drives are there. Prayer walks. You can walk in the estate.
I love that.
Around your compound. You can have a compound. You can walk around anywhere else. You can just take a prayer walk. And prayer walks are nice. There are times when you have taken
and it's like killing two birds with one stone.
Yes.
You are kind of exercising, you're walking, you're bonding. Wow.
Yeah, so there are times we have taken prayer walks and we are holding hands, and people are looking at it thinking, it's just PDA.
Yes.
So it's just in love. Yes, we are, because prayer makes us stay in love. But
it fosters intimacy.
We are holding hands and pray, and as you pray, you're not really praying loudly, so your lips could be moving and somebody thinks you are having a conversation. But at that time you're having a conversation with our Father in heaven. So you finish your work and then you can now start, you finish your prayers and then now you can talk other things as you go back home. So prayer walks happen. And then you can also take retreats.
Prayer retreats. Wow.
A lot of times people take retreats, to just have fun and enjoy themselves and that sort of things. You can actually take a retreat for prayer. Take your spouse, go somewhere and stay there for 2-3 days and have a list of what you're going to pray about and pray. Just spend time praying and talk and pray. And it is very refreshing. Take that time off. And then there's also the whole idea of if you're not together in the same geographical location.
Yes.
What do I do?
Because sometimes people work
very far
out of country, out of the city. So does that mean you can't pray together?
That does not mean that you can't. Now we are in a world where there's technology.
Yes.
You can do a Zoom prayer meeting with your spouse. You can do a video call, have a video call. You can actually just make a call and pray, even if you're not seeing each other. You can exchange prayer items on text.
There's no excuse.
You can do a lot.
Yes.
You can do a lot of things together. And one of the things that I want to emphasize on is that being intentional. So if you are determined, there will be no barrier. Distance will not be a barrier.
That's right.
Yes. You will call home and pray together.
On the phone.
On the phone. You will do all those things. Any platform that you are able to access and connect with your spouse and have a moment of prayer. How come people have the opportunity to plan when a person is far away? And you can show them, if you're doing a project, you're building a house, you can actually take a video of the house and show them that this is what we have done.
And touch base.
You can do the same for prayer. Just have a moment of prayer and a call, and you just pray together. And at the same time, as you pray, it's important to pray from the Word of God.
That's beautiful. Yes.
So there are times when you have to use not the same. You can use the Bible every time.
Yes.
And read through what is God telling you as a wife.
Yes.
And you can actually pray for yourself together when your husband is there. God help me as a wife to be submissive, to respect my spouse.
To claim those promises. Sorry to interject. I remember reading about Charles Spurgeon, who a young person asked him, "Give me one promise that I can hold on to." And Charles Spurgeon threw the Bible and told him there are thousands of promises right there that you can stand on. So what I'm hearing you say is that pray the Word of God. You are actually claiming those promises.
You're claiming the promises.
Yes.
And where the Bible points on issues of character, you're actually asking God for help.
To help me.
I have to be a good wife to my husband.
Yes.
By myself.
No.
So I will put effort. I will try, but I need God, I depend on God
Yes.
to mold me and make me a good wife.
Yes.
And the same thing,
Yes.
where the Bible talks about a husband, let your husband pray for
Yes.
himself and
Yes.
agree with him.
Yes.
God help me to love my wife as Jesus loved the church. You know, so it's important to just look at the word of God. There are times when my husband and I will use psalms. We read a psalm and then we pray, and then we pick prayer items from the psalm. Sometimes we're just reading a text in the Bible and see what is it telling us, and then we pray that word into our lives and
That's
ask
right.
God to just help us to be
Yes.
what He has told us to be in
Yes.
His word. Sometimes it's claiming the promises, and some promises have conditions attached to them.
Of course.
So we ask God to help us meet the conditions and the
Yes. Yes.
So prayer is wide. Prayer is interesting. Prayer is a very beautiful experience.
Yes.
That when you take time to pray, there's a lot that you can do. And at the same time, during prayer time, we sometimes sing worship. Sometimes you can play a song, and as you play that song, you feel you are connecting to God because this is a song that both of you love. It's a song that speaks, maybe a song that is built from the Word of God. So you're not just singing a song from anywhere else because it is a nicely done song. This is a song that speaks the Word of God. And so you take that song, you worship God, and then you pray. Where you don't have the time to play a song or sing, you just enter into prayer.
Yes.
And agree what you want to pray about.
Yes.
So what I'll say is, we have every opportunity to pray.
That's right.
And we have to be intentional.
Yes.
And remember, prayer is a good activity to make you bond as a couple. No wonder.
Yes.
A couple a family that prays together stays together because you give God His rightful place.
That's right, Janet. I'm also thinking, even as we come to a close, how powerful it is for a couple, especially a couple that has children, to decrease some things over their children. And what a better place to do that than in prayer.
Yes.
So you can also,
Yes.
take time to pray for your children.
Yes, take time to pray for your children. Take time to pray with your children. Because you're a family.
Yes.
Pray with them.
Yes.
And even speak to them and speak a blessing into their lives.
Yes.
Even laying hands on them and telling them and speaking the word of God into their lives.
Yes.
Praying is very wide, and when children are involved, they also grow up knowing that they need God in their own lives. So as a couple, pray, but also make sure that as a family, you pray and include your children, so they also learn to depend on God.
That's right. Yes. Wow, that is awesome. I think you have articulated very well the benefits of praying together as a couple, and also given tips on how a couple can pray together, can make time to pray together. I like really the aspect of prayer walks, or even praying, as you're driving together. And you have really underscored the importance of prayer in a family. But that does not mean praying as a couple. It takes away the time that you pray alone.
Yes.
So thank you very, very much, Janet, for today. Maybe if you have anything that you can say as a parting shot, but definitely praying as a couple is a practice that we really would like to see in our homes. But again, you mentioned that if I am alone, I could still pray and stand the gap. Anything that you want to say as we wind up on this topic?
Yes, I think I would want to just say that when you want to pray, or when you plan to pray, it's like you have already started praying at that point because your thoughts are starting to be aligned to what you want to see.
Yes.
But again, also when we are praying in an environment where there are other homes,
Yes.
let us keep our volumes low. I know people who really enjoy to shout and bang as they are hearing. So that could be actually sending your spouse away. So keep your volumes low. The Bible talks about getting into your room and locking it and
the
praying.
closet,
And and God who sees in secret will answer in public.
Yes.
So take time, just make that a moment that is very intimate with God.
Yes.
Don't just make it obvious that you're praying.
Yes.
So you don't have to have this demeanor because you're very spiritual and you're always praying. Just be yourself.
Yes.
And make sure you pray in a way that doesn't cause distractions around yourself.
Thank you very much, Janet. And yes, we want to encourage you viewers, take time to pray as a couple. Be intentional. Make time, because prayer is a foundation for a blossoming marriage. So I want to remind you yet again that we have Blossoming Marriage Academy Cohort 2 in session, and Cohort 3 registration is ongoing for sessions that will begin the first Saturday of October to the first Saturday of November. So until next time, may you begin praying as couples if you want your marriages to blossom. Thank you and God bless.